More than 100 paddlers in kayak parades, cruise ferries and submarines, castles, sea turtles and eagles, a moose, snowstorms, amazing sunsets, beautiful nature and many new places. Those are just a few of the experiences on the water this year in 5 countries, and this is what's in this video. Hi everybody, my name is Patrick, the paddler behind the Air on the Water channel. I hope you've also had a good 2022, and if you're also a paddler, I hope you've had an amazing paddle year just as I have, whether it's in a kayak, on a stand-up paddleboard or something similar. As 2022 comes to an end, I wanted to thank everyone who's shared great moments with me on the water, and everyone who's followed the journey here on YouTube. There have been so many good times on the water that it's really hard to choose when selecting top moments, but I've done my best to compile a list of the top 20 paddle events of 2022. It's a long video, 20 minutes and 22 seconds, so if you're particularly interested in some events, the video also has chapters for easy reference. Many of the biggest events are actually towards the end of the year. I'll also leave links in the video description to other videos that show related events. For me, the year ended really well, reaching 1,000 kilometers paddled on my 100th paddle, and I'm already looking forward to next year. Okay, let's check out some of the nice moments of 2022 on the water. So my paddle year started in beginning of February, but let's move to April with the final snow basically in Stockholm, Sweden, where my friend and I had a really interesting winter paddling trip, basically fighting horizontal wind and snow. Interestingly, by the end of the paddle, it had cleared up and was really sunny and nice. Next up in June is one of my nicest solo paddling trips. I wanted to try out the Airfusion EVO and see what it was capable of in the archipelago. I had tried the Airfusion EVO before, but not in waves like these. And this is a spot in Nynäshamn, south of Stockholm, where just in 1 hour or so you can be in the archipelago facing the sea. And I was actually quite surprised positively by the performance of the Airfusion EVO. Had a lot of fun in the waves, got some great views from this island, and was rewarded by a nice sunset at the end of the paddle. Next was Swedish National Day with an event at Örnsbergs Kanotsällskap in Gröndal, where after demonstrations I actually had the chance to compete against other paddlers. This was something I had never tried before. In a kayak I hadn't tried, and I was unused to the rudder. So I can't say it went particularly well, but it was a lot of fun. After the event, me and my friend continued to Gammelströmmen and Gudeån in Tyresö and had a great time on the water. It was a beautiful day actually. I also got to practice some self-rescue in the Airfusion EVO. Later the same month, I decided to make a day trip by intercity train to Mariefred, where I saw the Grimsholm Castle, had a beautiful day on the water, and actually quite a challenging paddle with a particularly interesting experience. First of all, there was a little bit of a labyrinth coming there. It's an interesting route. Getting more and more complicated as the paddle went on with a lot of obstacles. Paddlers who like a challenge would love this part. And I had a lot of fun, but it was really hard work to try to get through at some points. Here comes the interesting part. I'm on the river, and all of a sudden, this moose is standing in the water, very, very close in front of me, and we were both equally surprised. Later on, it showed up again, exactly where I needed to get up from the water. This next trip is definitely one of the highlights of the year. myself and my friend Jan headed to Refsnäs with all of our gear and kayaks in order to join another group of paddlers, Anneli, Ulf, Niklas and Marie, who had already the day before headed over to Håkanskär, which is a small rocky island in the absolute exterior of the archipelago. And after this, you basically have the Baltic Sea and nothing else until the island of Åland, which belongs to Finland. So we had a fantastic camping trip there, beautiful views. It's a bit tough to get there, but quite recommended. We had some tough waves on the way there, great views on the way back, and celebrated Midsummer in style on the island of Håkanskär. Next follows two actually train trips to Gothenburg and nearby cities, where I and friends Ulrika and Robert went for some awesome creek paddling near Kinna in Advanced Elements kayaks. Ulrika and I also went to Varberg in hopes of some sea paddling, but wind and waves were simply too high and we ended up skipping the trip. I continued on to Kungälv, where I checked out the fortress, had some ice cream by the Viking Cafe, met some cows, and also ended up with some paddling in central Gothenburg, which was a lot of fun seeing the city by kayak. It's great for kayaking, and I actually found out that by the Maritime Museum you can paddle next to a submarine and a destroyer of the Swedish Navy. Later on, we went for a separate trip to Marstrand archipelago, which was awesome in terms of the scenery, but we also managed to time this with the rainstorm of the worst rainstorms of the last few years, basically. So it was quite a rainy paddle. But once the weather calmed down, we got to have a lot of fun paddling and see a lot of interesting things on the water. This was, however, the first time that I've ever punctured a kayak to the extent that water was entering the kayak slowly, but enough for me to use my bilge pump. I had to stop on a rock to try and emergency repair the kayak, the ultralight, which worked well enough to get back to shore, get some obligatory ice cream. Later in July, my friends Bartosz and Marcena came over from Poland, which was great. So together with my friends Jon and Mikael, we went both city paddling, creek paddling, and had a great barbecue near Ältaån and Ältasjön. Not long after that, another friend Mikael and I ended up being safety volunteers in our kayaks during Lilla Essingen Night Swim, a night swim event where we essentially were there to ensure the safety of 60 swimmers in the dark. A really interesting experience. Thankfully, everything went well. In September, it was a busy month as well. I completed a full marathon, 42 kilometers, my longest distance in one day with an inflatable kayak, the Itiwit X500, and managed to draw the distance with my GPS tracker. It was a great paddle, and more videos will follow from this. Some are available. I did get my mandatory ice cream, which was the most important thing. We also had the Stockholm inflatable and folding kayak meetup for the first time, which will next year grow into the Swedish Air Kayak Day. Later in September, I went to Finland for multiple paddles. I explored the city of Helsinki. I got to paddle with Finnish paddlers from Mariefred. Thank you, Inka, for the invitation. And together with my cousin Beatrice and another kayak instructor, Tina, we got to explore the Inko archipelago, saw jellyfish, a fantastic sunset, amazing views, and really had a great time on the water. Thank you so much for organizing. Back in Helsinki, I did another trip and explored Suomenlinna, the fortress outside of Helsinki. Saw a sea eagle up close. Is that an eagle? It is an eagle. And continuing into October, I took the plane instead of the cruise ferry and went to Lithuania, where I had some great paddles with my Advanced Elements Packlight mini kayak, both in Vilnius, in Trakai with the castle, and in Kaunas with a sunset paddle. This was a really great experience, and my kayak actually fit into my relatively small travel bag. I continued this in Latvia, where I brought my Itiwit X500 by plane to paddle in Riga, which is a really good city for paddling, incidentally, and offers some nice paddle options both at night and during daytime. I met up with another paddler, Ed, a UK national who, living in Finland, actually brought his kayak from Finland to Riga. And since I had the same kayak, of course we met up on the water for a joint paddle on Daugava River and in central Riga on the smaller rivers there, which was a great experience. In late October, one of the largest events of the year also takes place every year, the Swedish Sea Kayak Day. This year we had amazing weather in Stockholm, and the participation was at record levels. 115 kayakers joined for a 33 kilometers paddle around the city of Stockholm and for a kayak parade to show the sport of kayaking to the public. This was a fantastic day, lots of great people. Thank you to the organizers, and thank you to everybody who participated. And actually, from what I understand, I brought my Itiwit X500, which was the first inflatable kayak to ever join this event. Now we're in November, and time for a change of pace. Together with my friends Mikael, Henrik and Mikael, we went to Djibouti in Africa. So I brought my Itiwit X100 Plus tandem inflatable kayak, almost 6,000 kilometers to Djibouti via Ethiopia. And we did get to see sea turtles close to the kayak, have a ray swim close under it, and swim with whale sharks and snorkel in coral reefs. So that was an amazing experience. Once more, a complete change of pace once back. It's now the first snow back in Stockholm, and my friend Jon and I head out for a winter paddle after dark in Väsbyån, then Edsjön and Edsån in Stockholm, Sweden, which was completely amazing with the ambience and the light on the snow. More winter, snow and ice together with my friend Jan and his pack boat, Quest 155. We headed out to two lakes, Sicklasjön and Järlasjön, and ended up crushing our first ice for the season. Had a great winter paddle overall. snow makes for beautiful paddles. You need to be careful out there. Make sure you have the right equipment, the right experience, and so on. But if you play it safe, it can be an amazing experience. The November-winter paddles continued, and this time with my friend John, we are at Edsviken, Sollentuna, Stockholm, Sweden. And it was actually a completely gorgeous morning on the water with flat water, with the sun and clouds and some fog on the water, making for absolutely beautiful views. And of course this fake moose as opposed to the real one I met earlier. It was a really nice and very picturesque paddle. So now it's December and time for the final trips of the year. This year, just as last year, a nightlight kayak parade was organized, Lucia paddling, at night in freezing temperatures. I think it was about -5 degrees Celsius. Ice blocking some part of the way, the intended path, but no ice really in the water where we were paddling, so it was nice but cold. Beautiful views with the lights of the kayaks, but also the light show, which is connected to Nobel Week. Nobel Week, of course, is connected to the Nobel Prize, and the Nobel Week light show was completely stunning this year. Alright, so we've reached my 100th kayaking trip, the last one for the year, which was quite special. This happened. First time I ever see a falcon, I think it is, landing right in front of me and staying there for quite a while. I got to see a few new spots in the city that I actually hadn't explored before. And I got to play music on ice sheets. There were so many ice sheets floating around and I had a blast.
Hi guys, this is Patrick from Air on the Water. I have just completed 1,000 kilometers paddled in a kayak. It's my 100th kayak paddle today.
Alright, so those were the top 20 moments and events among my kayaking experiences in 2022. As I said in the beginning, it was really hard to choose. There were so many nice paddles and so many nice people that I've had the chance to paddle with or connect with online, people who have supported here on YouTube, people who have followed the Air on the Water Instagram account, or been on Facebook and provided positive comments, support, and encouragement. Thank you guys so much. It's really amazing to see so many nice people out there in the kayaking community. And I would also like to acknowledge the few other paddlers on YouTube that are worth a follow. Special shout out to The River Rat and Dan-Erik Westerlind, who have been active winter paddlers in the last months. And again, thank you everybody for following along on this adventure. The Air on the Water channel is for you, and a hobby project for me, where I hope to help, inform, and inspire. And I'm inspired, and I'm looking forward to 2023. Happy New Year and best wishes. Stay safe out there, and happy paddles. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe in order to stay updated on new videos and help others find the information on this channel.